T-Rac, engineered to deliver. T-Rac G2 installation video.
Morning everyone, my name is Adam Donahue. I'm the National Sales Manager for T-Rac, and today we're going to be doing an install of the T-Rac G2 on this beautiful Dodge Ram. First, I just want to talk to you about the tools that we're going to be using today and the different components of tools that you can possibly use depending on the setup and the tools you have at home. So the fastest setup and the best way to do this is with a drill, a 7/32 Allen key bit, a 3/16 Allen key bit, a 9/16 socket and socket wrench, or a 9/16 socket. Alternatively, you can use a socket adapter and an Allen key bit 3/16 and 7/32. Or you can use your standard Allen key set. So now I've got my tools laid out. I'm going to look in the package, make sure I have all the components and all the different assembly parts. I'm going to lay them out on the table here, and that way we'll be ready to go. Alright, now that I've got all my components down, package out of the way, and I'm going to reference the install sheet to have the packing list so I make sure I have all the components here. So just a quick review of the different components. We've got the rubber shims, the uprights, got my side cleats and the mounting hardware, the saddles, bases, our aluminum crossbar end caps, all the hardware to assemble the uprights, my crossbar tie downs, my clamps, and then my clamping hardware. So I've got everything here, and now I'm going to start by putting the side cleats onto the uprights. So the beauty of this cleat is that you can hook things from the top, from the bottom. You've also got this enclosed unit here, plus you've got an additional hole up on the top. Gives you multiple mounting points and a very versatile component to hook onto the wrap. So right now we're going to install the arc cleats right on the uprights, and the fastest way to do this is you prep them all by placing them right in place on top of the rib nuts. And you grab your bolts and you quickly pre-thread everything in there to make sure it goes in accurately. Alright, so now that we've got all the cleats and the bolts in place, all you do is you take your drill, go quickly on the top, holding the upright down, and quickly bolting these things in place. Alright, so now I'm going to grab my 7/32 bit, put it on my drill, and we're going to be assembling the top saddle onto the upright. What I like to do for speed and efficiency is placing all of the saddles onto the uprights quickly first. And this makes sure that I have my orientation for when I put the base on, so that when I put it on the truck, everything lines up. Now that I've got all my saddles on top of the uprights, you're going to take your bolts and you want to pre-thread them by hand quickly into the upright. Now you want to do this for two reasons. One, to make sure that you've got the bolt appropriately into the threads, because there's a risk of cross-threading these bolts. The other thing is you want to get it right up to the pink stuff, which is an assembly-activated Loctite. And why we put this on the bolt is to ensure that you never have to re-torque it once it's assembled. It ensures that the saddles are going to stay on the upright and reinforces the overall integrity and strength of the rack. So now I've got all my bolts pre-threaded in here. You take one and you take your drill and your 7/32 bit, insert it firmly and make sure it's fully engaged into the socket up top. And then the other one. Now if you're a professional installer or a mechanic and you have a torque wrench at home, we recommend going back and torquing those bolts at 32 pounds-feet of torque. Alright, so now we're going to be assembling the base to the upright. And the trick here is you want to make sure that the whole thing is parallel so that when you get it on the truck, it's all aligned. The easiest way to do this is you place the base on the floor, and you tip it and make sure that this surface and this surface are parallel. And that will ensure you can put it on the vehicle. So now that we've got it all assembled, you're going to repeat the steps, the same thing with the top saddle, and pre-thread these bolts a little bit, and then grab your drill and screw them in place. Now I recommend going with the outer version first and then following up with the inside, and that ensures that this upright sits fully on top of the saddle. Alright, so now I've got all my uprights assembled. Place them over there. And the next step is pre-assembling and pre-threading some of these bolts that we're going to attach our crossbar saddles to the crossbars. Take the button head cap screws and the square nuts, and we're just going to pre-thread these a little bit so that the Loctite engages. We do this to all 8 bolts. So now we've got all 8 of the button head cap screws assembled. Put those over the side, and I'm just going to pre-assemble the crossbar tie downs real quick. And this will allow us to get them onto the crossbar once we have the rack assembled up more quickly. All you're going to do here is take your T-bolt, insert it through the hole, and then take your crossbar tie down knob and thread that right on. Alright, so now I've got all my components assembled. I have my uprights here in the bed of the truck with my crossbars, and I'm going to get this out of the way and we're going to get ready to put the rack together. Alright, so now I've got my components here in the truck. All I'm going to do now is take my uprights and stand them vertically up like this. And the great part about these is that they balance, that they sit on the ground. And then you just want to note and take your crossbar. You got to make sure that you have the top and the bottom so it's orientated so it's going to sit in the saddles here. The easiest way to tell the top from the bottom is the hole for the crossbar end cap is on the bottom of the crossbar. Alright, so I've got my uprights and my crossbar, and I take two of the button head caps with the square nuts, and all you're going to do is insert this with the square nut up, slide your crossbar, and you're going to slide the square nut right into the bottom of the T-Trac there. And then you just repeat that on the other side, slide that crossbar all the way through. Just drop this down like this, grab the other two on the other side, slide the crossbar here, and again just insert that with the square nut facing up, and slide that right into the T-Trac on one side, and then on the other. Now you want to leave these loose, and just set this over the side, and we're going to repeat this on the other side, the other upright. Alright, so now we've got our racks loosely assembled. We're just going to put some different components on there before we actually put the rack on the truck. So take your crossbar tie downs, slide those right in the top T-channel, the other one so that it's facing. You want to just slightly lock those down, then grab your crossbar end cap. You want to make sure that the flat portion is facing down. Slide this right into the end of the crossbar, and with the bolt, just loosely hand tighten that, and then finish tighten that when you're finished with either an Allen key or your drill bit. And then you want to repeat the same thing on the other side. Alright, so now that we've got our racks assembled and they're ready to go, I'm quickly going to pre-thread each of the clamps, and that way you're not fumbling around with the bolts once you're in the truck bed. So just take this a little bit here, thread that in, and then once you have your socket, use a 9/16 socket, and quickly just put that into place like so. And I'm just going to repeat that on all of eight of the clamps. Alright, so now in the bed of the truck, I got my rack, I got 4 of the clamps and bolts, 4 U-channels, got my drill, a 9/16 socket, and a wrench, a socket wrench, plus 2 of the rubber shims. And all I'm going to do from here is place these rubber shims in place. And remember, we had the bolts on the crossbar loosely tightened. So I'm just going to clean this up, slide these down into place, and the rack is in position. Now from here, I'm going to take the U-channels, and I'm going to just lightly put this right on top of the bolt there. And here I'm going to slide these in place, and slide them right into position on top of the base. And just repeat the same thing on the other side. Alright, so now that I've got the rack in place, you just want to make sure that you note that this front L is on the front rail. And once you have your clamps in place, you want to position them so they're as far apart as possible. Now in some vehicles, you're actually going to have the clamps closer together, but again, as long as you have it on that front lip, you're going to be fine. So position this as far apart as possible, and then just continue the installation, securing this up to the bed. As soon as you got that tight, you're ready to go to the other side. Alright, so now that we've got our clamps on, we're just going to make sure that the crossbar is square under the uprights, and then we'll tighten up those bolts that we had loose before. Alright, so now that I've got my crossbar square on the uprights, all you're going to do is tighten up those bolts from before. And make sure you do the inside first, and that's going to square up the saddle with the crossbar, and then follow it up on the outside. You're all set. Just follow the same thing on the other side. Alright, so we've just finished installing the rack. Now if you do have a toolbox, each T-Rac G2 comes with the toolbox mount kit, and this kit installs exactly the way that the clamps do. Simply just put that on, lock it in place, and then use the button head cap screws that come in the toolbox mount kit to secure your toolbox. Alright, so I got the rear rack on here, and I just want to make a note about the clamps. On this truck, you got the optimal distance and spread far apart. Now on some trucks, some of the bed actually bevels in, and so you do have to move the rack slightly forward in order to get that optimal distance between the clamps. Alright, so we just finished installing this brand new T-Rac G2 on this Dodge Ram. Quick rundown on the features and benefits of this product. It's got an 800-pound load capacity, it's made entirely of aluminum, it's got a dual-stage powder coat finish, aluminum crossbar tie-downs, an aluminum arc cleat, and even an aluminum crossbar end cap. Plus, each one of the T-Rac G2s comes with a built-in toolbox mount kit, which allows you to mount your toolbox on there damage-free. Now, we make a rack for almost every single pickup truck, and the install time should take about an hour for a single person, about 25 to 30 minutes for 2 people. For more information on the rack, or if you have any questions or concerns, please call our 800 number at 800-501-1587. And for more information on the product or where you can purchase it, visit our website at www.tracrac.com. Thanks very much.